Thank you very much, Valérie. We already have a few questions for you. Let me share my screen. Okay, so the first one, that the French regulation account for actual metabolic rates to calculate ventilation rates. I see a fixed value per gymnasium.
Not really, not like it's done in 16798-1, if that's what you refer to. We've got fixed value per kind of building, which in some way account for metabolic rate, because if you've got more activity, you've got more flow rate, but not as it is done in 16798-1.
Are the air inlets and airflow rate determined for dry rooms, for example, bedrooms?
Okay, so you need to have at least one air inlet per room, and it needs to provide at least 22 cubic meter per hour if you've got a 20 Pascal difference of pressure between indoor and outdoor, which is very low because you never have 20 Pascal pressure difference between indoor and outdoor unless you are in the large flow rate in the kitchen. So the number of inlet is calculated in the standard DTU 68.3 according to the kind of building you've got and how much extract you've got in the building. But it's usually one air inlet, and they usually put air inlet that will provide 30 cubic meter per hour under 20 Pascal.
Next question is about schools. Someone is asking if there is not an indoor air quality regulation that mandate keeping indoor air pollutant concentrations below specified levels, such as for formaldehyde. That would be nice. Would not this regulation require employment of ventilation to obtain good indoor air quality?
Yes, so we've got now indeed an indoor air quality regulation in school where we are supposed to check for the level of formaldehyde, benzene, and CO2 level in school. And if it doesn't meet threshold, then they need to define an action plan to actually meet the threshold. Theoretically, yes, it should lead to install ventilation system in school, but it is not required. So your action plan can just be, oh yes, well, let's open the windows a bit more or change something. So it's not a direct requirement, but it will hopefully help to make people realize that we do have problem of indoor air quality in school because now we are measuring it.
Yes, and what is the future for heat recovery ventilation in France?
As if I could read the future. Well, I think that we will come to this at some point. The thing is, we've got an intermediate climate in France. It's not that cold, not that hot. And the energy performance regulation is really rewarding well the demand controlled ventilation. So when you do the energy performance calculation right now, as it is, you don't save that much energy with heat recovery compared to a humidity-based demand controlled ventilation. And it's much more expensive. So that's why we don't have much of it. The thing is that all flow rates are quite low. I'm talking only about residential building here for now. All flow rates are quite low. So if we get in future regulation more flow rate required, we may come to more heat recovery also because we will need it to ensure the energy performance. Of course, for non-residential building, when a system is installed, most of the time it's a heat recovery system. But yeah, for residential building, I think that for heat to really be installed in France, we would need to have a regulation requiring more flow rate than we have now. So,
question for now, for the ventilation rate, should it be based on typical usage or peak usage, irrespective of occupancy? For example, in a gym, typical might be 30 people, but the gym might be used during a year for awards or shows, so the people could be 300 people. So should the ventilation be based on 30 people or 300 people?
Do you want my opinion or do you want the, the
I guess
regulation?
it's more about the regulation.
Well, yeah, you define a typical range. We've got, according to the kind of building, default occupants per square meter, depending, yeah, on the kind of building, and the default number of occupants per square meter, sorry. And so you design your system based on that. And if the room is overcrowded once in a while, well, too bad. You just, yeah, do some airing, open windows, open door, I don't know. Yeah, in my view, I'm in favor of performance-based regulations. So we should have systems that are able to adapt. We should have, yeah, to adapt to the multiple occupation rate you may have in a building. So yes, the thing is that if you design your building for 300 people, then you need to have a demand control ventilation system. Otherwise, it will just use too much energy 99.9% of the time, so it's not acceptable. So if you go for demand control ventilation, yes, of course, you should be able to cover everything that that may happen. But it's not required in the regulation.